lasting too long, just because really we all gotta prep. So maybe like an hour. That cool?
Okay. Yeah. Already finished writing up something.
Cool.
But I am so excited for this weekend, and hopefully these extra meetings will make the show will run a lot smoother.
It helps.
All right.
It keeps everybody's mind intact.
All right. Now, just FYI, we are live right now. I put the idle graphic, but live right now. I put the idle graphic.
Awesome. Oh, hey, what's up?
Hey, Hakuru-chan.
There's an echo. Oh, no, there's an echo. Oh.
What? How's there an echo? I think
I wonder it's on G4. Oh, it's gone now. All right.
I think what happened was that it might have bled from my headphones, and then I muted the Twitch on my end.
That happens, yeah. If you have a stream on while you're streaming, I can tell myself. By the way, I was gonna say, if you have your stream on while you're streaming, you will get an echo from the stream into your own stream. It kind of, what's we're looking for? It's
They call it bleed.
stream inception, pretty much. So, all right, I turn myself up. So, let me know how I sound, and then if I have to adjust, then I will do so. Still softer.
Softer.
Okay.
A little bit softer now.
More than likely, I can turn myself up more. Let's see. No, be louder. Everyone except G.
How much louder do you want us to be?
There, I put some more into my audio.
I also made sure to up your user volume, both of you,
Okay.
on my end of Discord.
Alright, I can't hear me, but I think that's by design.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
G's too loud. Okay, I thought so.
What? I did not up myself. I did not even change my volume. First I was good.
It's so funny hearing this from the other end, because I'm usually the one that's this is hilarious. Okay, so more than likely, let's see. So I would probably suggest just turning yourself down on the mixer, G. Not the virtual OBS one, but your actual physical one.
Yeah, just did it.
Okay.
Your car speakers. We're gonna run some dubstep in here and make you cry.
All right. Oh, that's I wonder who that is. Y'all blasting my car speakers. Okay, thanks, Angelica. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be starting in 3 minutes. We got quite a bit of ground to cover. Don't worry, there will be the yelling at Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
You started out with going to be yelling, and I assumed we were talking about Game of Thrones again.
No, well, I mean, I'll make the comment. I will make the comment about Game of Thrones and pro wrestling.
Yeah.
You mean water bottles are ruining both, or what?
Nah, I'm gonna spare it.
Okay.
I will allow this.
Which is weird, because
Ben's saying he wants you to yell a lot, apparently.
Funny.
Alright, I'm just checking OBS right now, and it doesn't show me. Alright, I'm coming down a little hard.
So there should be a bar when you're talking.
Yeah.
To show you where exactly you're at.
Yeah, it looks like I'm hitting the lower end of the yellow. I'm gonna just.
Yeah, just kind of up yourself. Oh no, wait, sorry.
No. Yeah, I just did. Now I'm hitting green.
Good. Yeah, it gets a little weird with OBS sound settings in your physical mixer, which I've learned recently.
Yeah,
There are
it
things
is.
where it may look right on OBS, but actually you're soft. So like you kind of to just kind of ignore that and
Yeah.
just increase your volume on this mixer.
Yeah, the only thing is the only way I can increase my volume on this mixer is through my actual gain.
That's interesting.
But you have so much to gain.
Ha 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 ha.
What? I'm old. Give me a break here.
True. Very true. You are allowed.
Yeah.
You are allowed.
Yeah, I get a senior moment per day. That's in the state constitution.
No, it's not a good idea for me to back up Angelica. I'm already pretty far from the mic already.
Wow, somebody had an opinion.
Ah.
Huh.
All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go and let's see if I remember this right.
I'm just gonna criticize you every time. I'm gonna be the Gordon Ramsay of this podcast.
You're gonna complain about how undone it is, how raw it is?
Absolutely.
Oh my god, did I lose the logo? Uh-oh.
Podcast is so raw, you're like easy listening DJs.
Wow.
I think there's always the your cosplay is so unfinished, the materials are still on the shelf.
Yeah. If you need the if you need the logo, dude, I can just resend it to you.
Oh, I got the logo. It's more like OBS had a brain fart.
Okay.
Your fandom is so weak, a coffee cup throws it off.
And done.
Ooh.
I know.
Wake.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of CWF Backstage Pass. Sorry for missing you last installment. Some things came into my life, but I thought it would be it's very important that we get this episode out because coming up on Memorial Day weekend, a good chunk of our team will be at the San Jose Convention Center for Fanime. Yay! Now, I got not only one, but two fresh faces, or voices, since there is no cameras here, on the podcast. So, introducing first is a man that you have all seen on stage multiple times, one of our most enduring characters and most tenured performers. We have Jeremy.
I was gonna say Anthony is amazing, but okay, I'll take that.
Oh. Okay, cool, thanks. I was not expecting that compliment.
There you go.
But yeah, hey Jeremy, thank you for coming on tonight.
Oh, no problem. I'm still kind of coming down from a bit of a nerd high. I was at Comic-Con Revolution last weekend in Ontario, California, and I managed to score some new original artwork and signatures, so I'm still kind of geeking up here.
Can you introduce yourself to our listeners who might not be aware who you are?
I am the oldest active competitor of the Cosplay Wrestling Federation. Most of you know me as the one and only, the OG of OMG, the Alpha of Awesome, the Omega of Entertainment, and the Eternal One-Up. I am Mario. How's that?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Cool.
And now another person who's actually doesn't see too much stage time, one of the most quintessential and essential members of the Cosplay Wrestling Federation team. Give it up this is Anthony with the Mission Start podcast.
What is up? It has been a long time coming, but I finally have arrived. And the very thing that I get angry at G for when we first started the podcast.
Wait, what I do now? What do I do now?
No, just growing pains. When we started, you
Oh.
were doing things that
weren't good.
Yeah,
That was,
and it.
that was the kind of speech where I expected you to just yank out a red lightsaber and say, "Now it's mine."
Nah.
Thank you for bringing me on the podcast.
Thank you. For those of you who don't know, Anthony runs Mission Start Podcast. He also is responsible for 90% of the filming for our live events. If he's not the one filming, he's coordinating the filming team, editing the footage, making sure our metrics are in check. His efforts are one of the reasons why that we have as strong of an online presence as we do now. So we got a really good combination of people in front and behind the camera, so to speak. So I'm looking forward to today's episode. How about you two?
Oh, totally. Man, the nerd world has changed a lot in the last 24 hours. Absolutely.
Yes, it has.
Yeah,
There's a lot that's happened.
There's a lot has happened. Endgame, Game of Thrones, WWE, Money in the Bank, Fanime
Fanime. I was going to say the announcement that Pac is apparently out of a Double or Nothing.
Yeah, Double or Nothing. The controversy that AEW is also not offering health insurance to their wrestlers. It's just been a very tumultuous month. Did I use the word right? That's the right word, right?
That's proper. That's proper. I mean, the health insurance thing is kind of an industry-wide problem, and I think the hope is that AEW is going to buck the trend there. But the other part of that equation, unfortunately, is finding an insurer, and that's relatively difficult. Wrestlers have been kind of a non-starter when it comes to health insurance plans for a very long time.
Yeah, and I part of it, I like the advantage. I get why a wrestler is an independent contractor, just because if we're not looking at WWE, okay, let's not think of WWE for wrestling, which is very hard to do. Yep. But your typical wrestler wrestles at multiple federations in multiple states, and they only do maybe 1 or 2 shows, so they don't have a steady employment. But they got that, they're free to pick and choose and do what they want. And the controversy with the WWE not offering benefits is just that they require their performers to work full-time employee shifts and have full-time employee restrictions, but not the benefits of a full-time employee.
Yeah, I'm not sure the difficulty is necessarily theirs, though, only because whether you're talking about the performers inside the WWE or those who are on what's essentially the other side of it, the independent circuit, you have the same kind of individuals who are both working somewhere between 3 to 5 days a week, depending upon which federations they're linked up with. And because they're all listed as independent contractors, no insurer wants to take them on because just about everything they do technically is on their time because of their independent contractor status. So getting these people health insurance is very difficult. It's vital to what they do, but it's still extremely difficult.
Yeah, it's still extremely difficult. I mean, no one's gonna say it's easy, but I mean that's where my sticking point was. Is speaking as somebody, I wasn't an independent contractor, but as a contract employee, it was just one of those things where you demand me of X, and if I'm going to be working like everybody else, I should be getting those benefits because you are taking away the benefits of being an independent contractor, of working when I want and such. But yeah. Okay, looks like the champ Mr. Satan writes, nope, and yeah, the independent contractor part is what kills any momentum they want to build. It's definitely a symptom, a very strong symptom of the way workers are treated in the United States, and only until...
I was only going to say that the independent contractor problem isn't limited to wrestling, it's just the one with the biggest spotlight at current.
Yeah, it's the one with the biggest spotlight. I mean, wrestlers aren't the only ones who need who need health insurance. There are plenty of very dangerous, lack of a better term, unsavory jobs that, getting hurt or possibly killed on the job is a realistic possibility. So we're definitely not saying they don't need it, but wrestling is a great microcosm of these issues.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Now, last episode, when I was with Ian and Jericho, we actually did not get to ask the podcast question of the episode, so you two are blessed with this question. And actually, Jeremy, you might have an easier time with this. This was proposed by Jericho last time, which is, if you were to wrestle, what would be your signature move? So this is not your finisher, it's your signature move. For those wondering what the difference is, for those of you wondering what the difference is, a signature move is a maneuver that you associate with a professional wrestler, but doesn't actually stop the match. So, for example, The Rock, his finisher is either the rock bottom or the people's elbow, but you associate like the spit punch or the spine buster from him.
Yeah, I've had a chance to think about that. For those that don't know, I actually managed to wrestle once or twice a year, and the story behind that is long and bizarre. But I would actually like to do a drive-by for my signature.
So the Roman Reigns drive-by?
No, more like it's the one where you do a quick arm twist or arm bar, and you put your foot under their chin and fall backwards.
Wait, so you mean the is that like Enzo Amore's finisher, like, or Chuck Taylor's Soul Food? Yeah, you put your
Soul Food.
Yeah, Soul Food. Okay.
I think the first time I saw it, it was being used by Crime Time, and it was called a drive-by.
Oh yeah, that confusion. I think people usually call it Soul Food. Currently, Mia Yim in NXT does that finisher. Mm-hmm. It's a pretty, it's a very impactful looking finisher, but it's also, signature move in this case. It's also very safe.
Well, that's the idea. I am very aware that without embellishing, I weigh above 260. I'm a beefy individual. You're not going to find me flying a whole lot. But at the same time, that's something flashy, and even though it looks great, it's relatively low impact. It gives you a chance to set up something else because somebody can either stumble forward or turn around and show their back to set up the next move. I think it gives you a lot of directions.
Yeah, you see that this is talk for someone who's been training to wrestle. It's great insight.
Sorry.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good. And also, chat, green room. Of course, let's not forget that your voices will be read. Your comments will be read in this podcast. So if you want to chime in your answer, go ahead and type it up, and we'll go ahead and read it on stream. Anthony, what's your answer?
So, funny enough. So, I do watch wrestling, but I'm like casually into it. as much as I am a fan of CWF and everything that entails, as far as like wrestling wise, it depends on my mood. So, sometimes I watch it and sometimes I don't. In terms of like if I had a signature move, given my size, I'd figure I'd be doing some Rey Mysterio or some who was the wrestler? The wrestler that did like the 720 off the top rope. Not night.
Well, wait. Are you talking about Ricochet?
Yeah.
That's the 630.
The 630, yeah.
630. So yeah, I'd figure I'd do something like that as a signature.
As a signature?
Jeez, man. Start with a nuclear bomb. Where can you go from there?
What are you gonna do? Just like pull the man's heart out of his chest or something? Like
right after that, he reaches into his tights, pulls out an oily rag and a lighter into his
like.
I'd figure if I was wrestling per se, quote unquote. I'd be small, agile.
Yeah. The thing that is confusing Jeremy and myself, it's not that you picked a really high impact move. It's just you picked your high impact move as your signature. Like something like that is a finisher. So you better have a really good finisher.
Yeah. What's the parallel here? Randy Orton finishes with an RKO, but usually he sets it up with either a Sidewinder power slam or like that Hangman's DDT likes to do. We're looking for the Hangman's DDT equivalent.
Oh, gotcha. All right.
So you have to be worried there because the only place you can go is basically take him up into the stairs, drag him into the rafters above the ring, and push him off.
Or the example would be if we used Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio always does a head scissors takedown, or a hurricanrana. That's his signature, and then the 619 is the finisher. All right. So while Daniel San writes, the finisher would be a 1080. Yes, obviously Daniel has been in the creative finisher mode in the old WWE games.
Yeah, but Imaginary Ninja appears to be evil. He says that Anthony's finisher will be the coast to coast 1260 reverse Phoenix Splash Suicida.
Mamma mia!
So basically, he's just gonna, hit you with his legs, and then there's gonna be this tremendous whirling sound, and next thing you know, there's gonna be an explosion in the ring. That's it.
Or Anthony hitches a ride on the helicopter. The roof of the stadium opens, and then he just elbows drops from it.
Absolutely, from the heavens.
From the heavens.
You can see the air friction burn coming off the elbow.
So yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Anthony from Mission Podcast, his signature, a 6:30. Thank you very much. Standard. As for me, I'm always a fan. This is my min-max gamer talking to me, and I'm going like, okay, if I had a finisher in the WWE, I would need to make sure I'd be able to do it on a big person. So no, Pearl River plunges, Tyler drivers, my finisher. I think I've always been attached to the Shining Wizard.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
But-
that's dope.
Yeah, I've always been attached to that, or some sort of really good kick to the head. And I think my signature would probably be I'm a huge fan of this move. It'd probably be a back elbow, a running back elbow.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That, that'd be what I do in the hot tag, or I'd get, that's what I really knock the guy's clock. I just really like that one. Or
I was waiting to hear actually what you were gonna say, because you keep talking about how if you were wrestling, you'd like to be a charismatic jobber, just that entertaining personality that somehow loses. So when you're starting out with the Shining Wizard, I was afraid you were going to say, and I miss it every time.
oh yeah, I mean, yeah, it's no surprise, chat, that if I were to be a pro wrestler, I would job to the stars. Me just having a finisher. Actually, yeah, now to think of it, a Shining Wizard would be way too cool for somebody like me. I think my signature would actually just be a German suplex. Because I just love the move too much. I really do.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say just pleading for life.
The flex tape.
German suplex into a coquina clutch. Call it the flex tape. Thank you very much, Imaginary Ninja. But thanks. Oh yes, Jeremy.
I was going to say, on Twitch, Simply Decree says something like Carmela's Code of Silence. I haven't seen a lot of her stuff since she moved up. What is a Code of Silence?
Wait, what the hell is the Code of Silence?
Yeah, Simply Decree says probably something like Carmela's Code of Silence, but on the rope, so illegal for me. And I'm really unfamiliar with that one. Oh, it's a reverse head scissors. Imaginary Ninja added it's a reverse head scissors.
Yeah, okay, there we go. And Danielson writes, I'm a big fan of Matt Hardy's side effect.
Yeah.
He actually typoed the die effect, which
That's when Matt Hardy drags a gun into the ring. Guess what?
that escalated quickly, Daniel.
I like the side effect. That's something I feel like I could do with my relatively large self. It's just one of those cases where if I do it, it's going to make a tremendous sound.
You also had a pretty good sidewalk slam, too.
I like it. I practiced that for a while. I also have a belly-to-back suplex that I'm pretty proud of, but I don't think I've had a chance to use in rings scenarios yet.
Okay.
But, I have more training with SoCal Pro Wrestling on June 2nd, so we'll see about adding a few more arrows to the quiver.
Excellent. You have more than 5 moves of doom.
It took a while to get there. But, I mean, the short version of that story is Supreme Pro Wrestling invited me to be a manager. Then after a couple appearances, they thought it went so well that they invited me to get in the ring. And I accepted the idea that very likely this meant I was going to lose horribly and be the the comic relief. But at the same time, I was like, I don't want this to look like it stinks for anybody. So I made arrangements through Alex, another one of our members at SoCal Pro, to actually get some training in, so it looked good at least. That was my entire impetus behind it. I didn't say I was going to be the next superstar. I'm just like, I want to make sure this doesn't stink.
No. I mean, that's everybody's thing. Like, you know, you this is a very rare opportunity, so you want to be able to maximize it to you.
Well, to be fair, it ought to be rare. I was 41 when I started.
Oh.
And he's getting younger, folks.
I mean, when this was offered to me, I told him, you know, I thought about this in a lot in my teens and some in my 20s. Not at 41 with 3 kids.
Oh, can I just say real quick? I just got my memory jogging, but this is not to say it's part of my moveset, but there's always something really fascinating to me about a really good Michinoku driver. Like,
oh yeah,
I used to not like it as a kid, but every time I see it, I don't care who it is or who does it or when they do it, I pop. Like, Michinoku driver! Even, like, it just looks so, it's just such a, it's so simple, there's nothing flashy about it, but it just makes me smile when I see a good Michinoku driver.
oh yeah. It's a nice and artful move. You just got to be careful because it wouldn't take much of a slip to turn that into one hell of a concussion.
Alright. Or accidentally crotching yourself.
Yeah. With somebody else's face. That would be
Anyway.
I'll pay money to see that.
No, dude, not even.
What shows in Mexico you go to?
Dude, like, what search filter is on your Pornhub?
I won't say, but let's leave it at that.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Obviously.
I guess this is how Anthony upstages his 630, is he crotches himself on the Michinoku driver.
Hey, it gives me strength.
The more you play along with this riff, the creepier you sound.
We'll call it the New Year's driver because it's all over when the ball drops.
Exactly.
But all right, let's. I'm gonna go ahead and briefly talk about Money in the Bank. It happened this Sunday, which was also the same day as Game of Thrones, and many members in the CWF actually watched Game of Thrones first, then came back to watch Money in the Bank. And for those of you who didn't see the pay-per-view, it was actually, minus the ending, it was actually pretty good. Like, women's Money in the Bank was really good. AJ versus Seth Rollins was fantastic. They did this great spot where Rollins went for the curb stomp, but then AJ caught him and caught him midair, grabbed both his legs, and did the Styles Clash. Holy crap! That's probably one of the coolest counters since the midair spear turned into a pedigree.
Can I ask a quick question though?
Yeah.
Because in Twitch, Daniel-san saying in the chat that Rey Mysterio's crotch busted open Samoa Joe's nose last night.
Oh yeah,
What's the story behind that?
No, Rey Mysterio did a hurricanrana, and then after it, Joe got cut.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
Okay, I wasn't sure if there were extra masks involved or something that I wasn't aware of.
But
One big mask.
it was just a night. Like, there's one thing that really infuriates me. Actually, no, I don't want to use that word, because somebody goes, you know what really infuriates me about WWE, and someone else is going to go, everything. It really made me, it's the referees. Do they forget the rules of the match they're in? There was Shane McMahon and The Miz. They were in a cage match, and Miz does his finisher, and the ref's counting to 3, and I'm all, wait, you could get a 3 count in a cage match?
Yep, yes you can.
I remember the cage matches in WWE SmackDown made by Ukes, and almost every other wrestling game, you had to escape the cage.
Well, times have changed.
Yeah, I don't know when exactly the referee became standard in cage matches. I just know sometime after Chris Benoit, actually, I noticed that there was a referee in cage matches all the time who has the capability to count to 3. It's not always a big feature of these matches. Most of the time it's still the escape, but I mean, around the same time, all of a sudden the door was a constant feature as well. It used to be when you locked that door, the only way to win was up and over to the floor, but a lot of changes came very quickly. To
Yeah.
get
Okay. So the ref is going for the 3 count, and then Shane puts his foot on the ropes, and the ref stops counting. Yeah, like half the fun in wrestling is when you see something fuck up. You're like, was that meant to be, or like, did someone legitimately f up and they're playing around? They're going through the motions, and like you don't like the whole thing about no DQ matches. You can't do the rope break. There's no rope break, so And like that always confused me because a lot of times you see wrestlers in no DQ matches when they're being submitted, they still go for the ropes and they hold it and that's their instinct. I mean, sometimes they play it off right. Like I think it was it wasn't a no DQ match, but Daniel Bryan let go of the yes lock because he got too tired because he was doing it for like forever, and I think he was fighting Kofi. Don't quote me on this one. That makes sense, but this like, oh no, he touched the ropes, better let go. No, why? I mean,
there's 2 possibilities. Either A, the Miz and Shane forgot to discuss certain beats with the ref and what he was supposed to do during certain things, or B, for some reason the ref's instincts just kicked in, and this is what he usually does. Get off the ropes.
Yeah,
the ropes.
I mean, there was that.
I was about to say, there's a C scenario.
What's
that was part of the story for some odd reason.
That is odd. There was that. There was also when Joe was being pinned by Rey Mysterio. Joe's shoulder was so high in the air that he could have touched the ceiling, and the ref still counts the 3. So there's a lot of funny ref stuff, but holy cow, the ladder matches were great. People probably died and resurrected in the middle of that ring, and I would have believed you. Michael Cole was yelling, "What is wrong with these people?" he called the match right. Also, another side point about cage matches that never made sense to me, especially if Escape is a... Yes, Naomi's outfit. Naomi cosplayed as Bumblebee from Teen Titans.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't learned the reason for this so far.
I don't know. But anyway, another thing that really confused me about cage matches, and this is more so in NXT where they don't allow the 3 count, is the whole point, it's like, I'm just going to, hypothetically, I'm going to say that Anthony and I are in a feud, okay? Like, Anthony and I are in a feud. I'm heel. I'm heel. He's face. Anthony, man, Gerardo, you've always been running away from me. Finally, I'm going to get my hands on you in a cage match, which makes sense on first glance, right? Like, oh, man, they're in a cage. There's nowhere to run. But this is a match where you win by running away from your opponent.
Okay, I'm following.
Don't you you see how these things don't match up? It's like, I hate you, so I'm gonna fight you in a match where the only way I could win is by leaving the battleground. I mean, you could argue that, well, yeah, but until then, you're locked in there with the other person, and then you can beat them up and then leave. But I mean, it just never sat right with me. Like, Hell in a Cell, that makes sense for a feud to end on, right?
I don't know. I mean, I always enjoyed the classic version of the cage matches with just the up and over rule, because there's so many false finishes before that was even really a term in those things. You can't have a moment of luck. You can't have somebody who is just off balance. You have to beat them so far down, they can't catch you before you climb over this 15-foot structure.
Well, actually, this is a slight spoiler, but Money in the Bank, there is a cage match that is won on luck.
Andrew Luck?
But, I mean... I'm not gonna. No, I mean, I'm not gonna dwell too much on the pay-per-view, just because, overall I liked it, and I'd probably watch the Money in the Bank matches again for both the women and the men. So
Finish though.
Yeah.
actually, yeah. Let's talk about. You know what? I feel like getting angry today. Hey, chat. You want to get angry? We're gonna get angry. Let's do this. We're gonna talk about the finish.
Yeah.
It was either that or Game of Thrones. Either way, it's anger, baby.
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's talk about that. Let's talk.
So funny enough, I didn't watch much of it, although I'll probably put it on tonight when I'm working on stuff. But I did catch some of the last ending stuff at the event, and the minute that happened, I was walking home from the grocery store with stuff I was gonna make for food last night, and as I was seeing us walking down the street, I'm like literally yelling at that, like, no, fuck you, no, seriously.
Whoa, okay. Dropping F-bombs, we mean this.
Yeah.
What about your thoughts, Jeremy?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure what to say. I didn't know it was possible for the Money in the Bank case to win itself. All I know is it somehow pulled itself off the chain and managed to just kind of float down the steps. And the only reason I say that is because, for those that don't know, one of the 8 opponents for Money in the Bank was not able to go forward, Sami Zayn. And at the last minute, while a lot of people are dead tired and Mustafa Ali is climbing the ladder.
Yeah, Mustafa Ali's climbing the ladder, and everyone's down. Like, everybody ate a big move. Nobody's gonna, like, suddenly revive themselves and get up there. Like, it really looked like Ali was gonna win.
Yeah, and all of a sudden the music hits. This human blob of flesh comes running down, changing colors as he gets down the aisle. And Brock Lesnar knocks over the ladder, sets it back up, climbs up, and steals the case. And for me, that actually ticks me off quite a bit. Because Lesnar is pretty much the example of everything that's wrong with WWE right now. He's a part-timer. He works maybe 6 matches a year. And every time he wins the heavyweight title, which he's done frequently since his return, basically you're not going to see that title in any way, shape, or form for months at a time. It's like not having the title at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, but see, someone on Reddit made a good point. It's like, hey, if I was the champion, I'd be happy that Brock Lesnar has the case because he's not going to show up.
I mean, there's that idea, but then there's also the idea that the storyline is hanging over you, that this guy who, again, seems to have so much endurance trouble that at the beginning of the match he's red, by the end of it he's some shade of purple, is just going to show up at the end of a show where 2 guys have been killing it, entertaining the crowd, and then just basically steal the momentum of the show, of the match, and of the people that have worked so hard, simply because he's overpaid and doesn't show up to work on a given day.
No,
I'm sad to be back in this cycle.
Because after WrestleMania, we all thought we were free, especially since they got rid of the rematch clause. Like, okay, cool, Bork's out, Rollins is always there, I'm happy, Kofi's there, I'm double happy. We're all gonna like move on, and now this really interesting wrinkle in the championship scene, Brock, the Money in the Bank briefcase, is now back in Brock's hands. So it's like, ugh.
The sword of Damocles over the entire roster for a minimum of the next 12 months.
And you know what's even worse about this? Like, there's a part of me that thinks that Brock Lesnar is going to win the title again just because of the simple fact that the Money in the Bank briefcase has not been successfully cashed in 2 times in a row. Mm-hmm. Like, Corbin got pinned and Braun Strowman gave it up. So,
yeah,
I don't...
Sorry.
No, you go.
Well, I was going to say, if Lesnar's inclusion wasn't irritating enough, as you said, the Money in the Bank case usually means that you're either going to get an impromptu match very quickly, or someone is about to be elevated to heavyweight status in a heartbeat. And that usually adds new opportunities to guys who have been overlooked because of inconvenience. You know, maybe they haven't felt there's enough time in the roster, or a sudden injury comes up and they need this guy to cash in and carry the weight of the top prize company for
Seth Rollins, Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, CM Punk twice.
CM Punk.
And now that hasn't just been taken away from everyone else, but it's been given to a guy who is already being seen, and I'm not going to say by majority, but in a lot of circles of wrestling fans, is superbly overrated currently.
Agreed.
Yeah, because Corbin was an interesting choice. Him losing, I mean, it was a nice subversion of expectation. Then you had Strowman, which everybody's like, okay, cool, we want this, and it doesn't happen. So we're going, okay, third time's a charm, and third time is Lesnar.
The monkey's paw effect, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I watched Game of Thrones that night. I missed Money in the Bank, but I mean, I enjoyed the Game of Thrones finale. Then to go back and read the finish of Money in the Bank, I was actually upset.
It's even worse because what makes it sting. I love how I said we're not going to talk too much about it. Here we are, but hey, us wrestlers love to complain. What really stings is that the ladder match was great. It was fun, and when Ali was climbing the ladder, and he was about to grab it, and this is the magic of wrestling. I was believing that he was gonna do it. Part of me was like, yeah, he's too new, something's gonna happen. But part of me was like, can you do it? Please don't toy with my emotions, WWE. And I felt like an idiot for believing.
Yeah.
6 out of 8 of the competitors in the men's Money in the Bank match honestly would have really benefited from taking that case with them. And instead, this is what we have. We have something that feels like the same old song and dance.
Yeah, because you had Corbin, you had Ali, Cien, Orton, who hasn't been in the championship scene for a while, so he's not overexposed. When Sammy got in, like, woo, maybe Sami Zayn could get in. Yeah.
I can feel the disappointment.
I know. Oh no, Sami Zayn was he was a very interesting wrinkle. Like all these people were people who could have been, like what you said, were people who could have been elevated, just like in a snap of a finger.
Yeah.
And then here comes Brock Lesnar. This would be like, for those who don't watch wrestling too much, this is like if you're watching a harem anime series, right? And like there's reverse harem, right? Where 5 really hot dudes, and they're all the episodes like them and the lead girl, and there's all this tension, and at the final episode she goes, I'm gonna choose the guy at the coffee shop, deuces, and just walks out. Like, this guy never been introduced, he just comes in, hey, you want to get a bite to eat, and then done. And that's how the series ends. Like, that's how it felt like with Lesnar.
You know what? The only way it could get worse would be to follow Simply Decree's comment in the chat. He says Lesnar is going to cash in and Goldberg is going to come out and hit him in the dork and take it to another Saudi show. It's like a perfect storm nightmare for me.
Oh my god! No, I don't want Lesnar.
I mean, it's
Goldberg.
not too far from it could happen.
Stop it!
No, don't say that.
Can we?
I already have social issues with the WWE's association with Saudi Arabia at current.
Yeah. Just saying, but yeah.
This is why I go to NXT. Continuity, everything makes sense. The champion's not on every week. And Shayna Baszler's still holding it down. I hate her, and I love her because I hate her.
Well, she's a great champion, but I love NXT because it's not... Raw and SmackDown have similar problems to me. One of the big ones is that they feature the same dozen shows or dozen performers roughly every week. Whereas NXT has a short enough show with a thick enough roster that from week to week, you're getting almost a completely different show.
Yeah, you do, and the champion's not always down, and like every episode's not about the champion. Maybe this one's about a little mid-card feud or something, but it's just, you get variety.
I agree with that. Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Speaking of the Saudi show, Goldberg versus Undertaker. What year is this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah.
You know what?
Well, you know it's 2019 because instead of being a battle between titans, it's a battle between grandpas.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that would have been a cool match 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Taker is just... He's coming on more often that we're not falling in love with him. Like, we're watching a wrestler decline. It's like when Ric Flair still wrestled.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's my wife's favorite, and we've agreed almost a decade ago that it's time for him to just relax and enjoy the next phase of life.
Like we didn't WrestleMania had no Taker. It was great. It was okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good.
I mean,
WrestleMania was a very solid show.
Yeah, it was. It's because the good people won.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Okay, I'm not gonna go there.
I mean, like the baby faces mostly won. But hey, we could talk about this all day. We literally could. We could literally air our grievances. But let's talk about something that is coming up that people are actually excited about, and that's
Porn collection.
with
I told you that.
yes with Michinoku Drive. Like everybody, go ahead on Pornhub and Michinoku Driver porn. This is going to be that. Let's go ahead and talk about Fanimania. And this is our 6th show. And Fanimania means a lot to almost everybody in the CWF.
Yeah.
It is kind of amazing how this show started out as just kind of the middle of the year thing, one in a chain, and then it just sort of exploded on its own to become its own sort of weird microcosm.
Yeah, because it ended up as our go-home show just by circumstance. Like, Daniel will tell you this when he ever, if you ever want a CWF history lesson, talk to Daniel. He'll always say, Fanimania was the first one, was at a small panel room on a Saturday, 11 in the morning. I think he knows the dates better than me. But and that's my really bad Daniel impression. But
Daniel is now the Grand Maester of the CWF. Ask any questions, he'll put on a gray beard for you and start reading.
No, Daniel is. I mean, he did compile that huge list of shows with every single wrestler in it, the results. Like,
I'm not making fun of him because it's goofy. I'm making fun because I'm jealous. He has a lot of information on in his head about this.
Yeah, but
I kind of wonder if he has stats too.
no, probably. But it definitely was. We were more concerned about just being in Fanime. Like, hey, we got a show in Fanime. Woo! Like, we were happy at 11, and then Fanimania 2, we got into the bigger room the same year that Freaky Fish Guy defended, the same year that Jeremy debuted Super Mario.
Yeah.
And that was like, wow, okay. And then we got put in a bigger room, and then the crowd got wilder, and the crowd understood everything, and then we had the reoccurring chants, and so we're like, okay, you know what? We'll go ahead and we all just went, this is the big show. It also kind of helped that the name is the WrestleMania parody name. Like, we don't have, so it just kind of.
I just think it's. Oh, I was just going to say it's interesting how the calendar works out. I mean, the year starts with Anime Los Angeles, and then pretty much the explosive show is Fanime, and then almost right afterwards is Anime Expo, and it's really interesting how the big explosion happens in this middle part of the CWF cycle of the year.
And I was about to get to that because theoretically you would want AX to be the big show because it's at the end.
Bigger convention.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely. Yeah.
most potential exposure. It's right there at the middle of the summer season where people start to spread off into their different fandoms instead of focusing on the anime cons. Yeah. It's right there.
It's right there, but AX never became the big show. It could have been the big show, but we've never, just because of the way, like how our Fanime room got bigger and our AX room got AX room, it never happened.
Yeah. Fanime saw the product and saw what we all did and what it became, and gave us a chance to kind of go from there.
The disparity is so notable, though. I mean, the Fanime's a bigger room, managed to usually get it close to capacity, but pull the entire line in. Whereas Anime Expo, over the last 3 years, they've given the CWF the same room, and there's a line of people that have to be dismissed because we do not have space for them.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we're just in this position where you just ask yourself, what do we do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there is a unique quality to the AX show because the explosion happens at Fanime, is that the AX show just gets to be a show.
Yeah, it's a bit of a bounce back.
It's a nice bounce back. It's like it's the field gets swept, and it just gets to be a very simple, effective show. Like AOA has to play setup to Fanime, and there's a lot of pressure on AOA because whoever wins has to defend at Fanime. So people really like come out in full force to that, but AX is like, you win, cool. You don't win, okay.
And you're off for 6 months.
You're off for 6 months. Like, hey, you want to? It's almost like it's like the closest thing we have to a blackout show. It's like, yeah, it's AX, whatever, small room. You want, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's not to say that the AX shows aren't good. I think some of our stronger shows are at AX just because they're just, they're free from all the hullabaloo.
Yeah, but like you said, it's interesting how Anime Expo is technically 3 times bigger than Fanime. Yet the Fanimania shows, when it comes to CWF, is the one that produces the most other types of opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's just so bizarre.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah,
But
I mean, honestly, I feel like the Fanimania shows are not only obviously it's the biggest we ever put on, but I honestly feel like it's the most attended show out of all the shows.
With the most rabid fan base too.
Mm-hmm,
now,
absolutely.
before we talk about our shows real quick, let's go ahead and give a primer to the chat on what we're doing at Fanime this year. So there are 3 events. Of course, yes, good one. There are 3 events that the Cosplay Wrestling Federation will be at. Friday, at 5:30 p.m. at Stage 0, there will be a special CWF press conference. What's being announced? Well, you'll just have to find out. Then, 6 p.m. that same day, Friday, in one of the Fairmont panel rooms, we will have a character acting panel. This is where various members of the Cosplay Wrestling Federation will help attendees apply wrestling theory to their character performance. So this is not like how to do well at CWF or what makes a good wrestling promo, although we will touch on that. This is mainly our way of trying to reintroduce the performance elements back into cosplay, which I think have been woefully ignored in all these years.
Cool.
And then finally, we will have Fanimania, Sunday, Panel Room 1 at 7 p.m. However, seating will be at 6 p.m.
Yeah, it'll be the next defense by Francisca von Karma, and she gets to find out who exactly is coming to challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got a lot of stuff to do. There's also a pro wrestling gathering, and
Yeah.
I think Daniel, though, is showing a little bit of his CWF history. He's flexing in the chat, saying the only time a champion lost the belt to a challenger at Anime Expo was when that dork Yugi lost to the Fish. I think there's a chip on the shoulder there somehow.
Is Anime Expo also had the first retention? The first 2 retentions was when Yugi lost to Little Mac.
Yeah.
And when Francisca von Karma defeated the Tennis Tyrants, which that was a great match. Also,
Soccer Strikers by then?
no, the Soccer Strikers turned up at Anime Los Angeles. It was also when Phoenix Wright was hit with a chair by Super Mario.
Oh yeah,
What?
that
I heard
happened.
about that.
Yeah. That was a thing.
Can I say, though, just doing that was so interesting. Can I tell a story?
Oh yes, go ahead, please.
Okay, so everyone knew I was coming to the Anime Expo show, and by everyone I mean the CWF performers. But when I showed up, everyone was confused because I showed up in plain clothes. And everyone was asking, what are you doing for the show? Well, I'm doing nothing for the show. What? Yeah, seriously, I'm doing nothing for the show. Got through all of setup, still in plain clothes. The show started, I'm still in plain clothes. I slowly start changing into my costume backstage, and everyone just says, so, what are you doing for the show? I'm doing nothing for the show. What are you talking about? Seriously? Not your problem. I'm doing nothing for the show. Get through a most of 2 rounds of CWF performances. Then Phoenix Wright goes out. I stand up, I take the folding chair I'm sitting in, I go and smack him in the back, and I swear I had to keep a straight face because the first 3 rows of people seemed like they were so just floored by this action. They rolled backwards. It looked like they were about to end up in each other's laps. Like the force of this chair shot just exploded into the room. And I cut a promo that I felt pretty good about. Everybody backstage thought it was cool. But one of the performers, her sister was waiting outside. She could not get in because they cut off the line. And when we were talking to her after the show, she said, I don't know what in the heck happened in there, but I hear this giant bang and a bunch of people screaming. It sounds like something really bad happened in there.
Yeah, what happened was Anthony did the die effect and brought his gun.
It was crazy. Actually, it's cool because I was watching from home. I was moderating the chat, and I had no idea if any of this was happening.
You shouldn't.
I mean, well, yeah. Nowadays, it's no longer that. But the thing though that was crazy to me or was funny to me is one, the reaction from my end in the chat was just as the same was in the crowd. We were all freaking out. I was like, what? You know, just like typing nonsense into the chat room. And it's funny too. I clip it too. There's this guy that's near the camera who was just like for a good solid 1 to 2 minutes, maybe more, just saying, you know, what the F? What the F? Like the entire time. I was like, wow. It's insane.
The funny thing was, I saw that clip and I was sending it to someone, and because it was on repeat, it went like 2 or 3 times before I was done typing. I figured out who that was.
Is that Ian?
That was Sam.
Oh, it was Sam. Of course.
He was one of the few people in on it, but he was still squealing in this high voice. Just completely bored. But I should preface this by saying that chair shots are not something that happens in the CWF in general. I was out there not as a CWF performer, but as I was announcing that I was making a pro wrestling debut for Supreme Pro Wrestling. This was the big thing where we were advertising for that show because we're cosplayers who are going to be wrestling, and it just felt like a nice surprise. And fortunately, Phoenix Wright, he previously trained as a wrestler. He knew how to take these, and he's the one who kept saying, "You can swing, just swing for it." And I'm the one going, "But I don't want to like bat you into the back of the room. I mean, I need to figure this out."
I think part of the some of the funnier things was Jeremy, Alex, and we were talking about, okay, what do we do if we can't get the chair in Anime Expo? Because it's possible they have metal detectors and it could be seen as a weapon. Like,
oh yeah, they had hard rules that year where people were not allowed to bring folding chairs
and
because they didn't want them to camp out in line.
Yeah, and let's be frank. If Anime Expo were to forbid the chair from entering, they had legitimate grounds because somebody could get hurt with them. But we were talking about like, oh, what if you guys brawled and spilled outside? That was an idea, and then we stopped. Yeah. Like, let's not have a fake fight in the middle of the hallway where there's a bunch of security guards who don't know what we're doing.
I was gonna ask, like, what was the backup plan? Like,
I think it was like maybe Alex and Jeremy would have scuffled and got pulled apart.
Yeah, it was something to that effect. I mean, thankfully, I got through with the chair with the absolute truth. Security was very anxious about letting anybody in with the chair, but I explained to him I'm a panelist for Cosplay Wrestling Federation. For the past 2 years, we have overfilled the room. They haven't allowed people in. And I need a place to sit, so I just brought a chair where I could sit backstage and monitor the show. Absolute truth.
He just didn't tell the part where he stood up, picked a chair up, and hit somebody in the head with it.
Oh, I think they might have felt kind of iffy on that particular part, so yeah.
Kaito Ida comes in, that's Ian. He writes, Brock Lesnar winning was the worst thing they could do. Thank you, Kaito.
Second worst. The first worst would be Shane McMahon winning in that case.
But he's the best in the world.
Yeah, I haven't forgiven anybody for that storyline.
Hey. I love Shane, okay? I still like him. He's one of the very few wrestlers, chat quote me on this, Shane McMahon is one of the very few wrestlers who, when he got older, got more moves.
That's true.
I will agree with that, but for him to win this Best of the World Cup when there's so many other guys that could use a push and are, actually performing on a more
Do you
basis.
really want the stink of the Saudi Arabia tournament winner to be on you? I'd say I'm glad Shane took it.
I don't know. I don't know. The whole Saudi Arabia leg of appearances it feels so dicey to me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I should mention Ian was actually there during the chair shot moment. I saw him on some of the videos, and he came out of his chair when that happened. He was on his feet.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are looking to get your Fanime fix on before the actual show, you should definitely pay a visit to our Twitch page on CWF, where we have all the Fanimanias uploaded, as well as some of them on YouTube. The reason why you should do that is if you are looking for a new way to digest your viewing of Fanimania, might I recommend watching The Crowd?
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
There's light sticks, there's signs, there's people waving plushies, there's all kinds of things to be had in that crowd.
Oh, there's
yeah.
this was for Ian, because Ian's first Fanimania show was Fanimania 5, and there's a part right after Captain America yells "Hail Hydra," he literally does like the no, Ian jumps in the air. You know that, like, when the shaggy jump on friend mount?
Yes.
Yeah, he does that.
Yeah, he's a very passionate man. Like, when I was taking video footage, like, I definitely got a good couple glimpses of him, and he was very emotive, like, very just, like, excited, and at the same time, like, oh, this is great.
And he's not the only one. Let's not, okay, those listening, he's not the only one. It wasn't like, we had 1,000 people on their chair, sitting in their chairs quiet, and then he is like, woo!
Scooby Snacks, he came down.
Pikachu Libre, I think Pikachu Libre, oh no, that's a car jam, but I remember when Heather Mason attacked Dick Gumshoe. There, in the side, you could see a Kaede cosplayer from I think she was Kaede from Killer 7. Basically put it with their hands on her head, screaming bloody murder as Dick Gumshoe got beaten with a pipe. She's like, no!
So good. It's so good. Oh my god, there was definitely some awesome moments that, like, you could definitely tell in the shots of the crowd. One of my favorite moments is when I was editing Fanimania 4, and there was that moment where my waifu was on stage, and he was talking about what's her name from Dragon Maid, Kana, I think that's her name is, the Dragon Lolly. When he was just going on and on about her, and there was a quick shot of, like, him to the crowd, and then, like, a Toru cosplayer stood up, just yelling, just, like, so angry. I was like, oh, this is perfect.
There was that. I remember, it's the things that stick in my mind. I can't tell you what the common denominator is. All I could say is I remember them. Like, I remember during Jeremy's entrance, there was just some dude in khaki pants and wearing the Roman Reigns vest. He wasn't cosplaying Roman Reigns. He had maybe he was. I'm not gonna judge, but it was just like a mass-produced Roman Reigns vest. I remember that. I remember the person wearing a unicorn mask in the aisle, and it was just.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah, I remember he got up in my face, and somehow I saw it and ignored it. I don't know how.
Oh god, that was so good.
I remember that. I remember one of the years there was that front row of dudes who were all perfectly in sync, doing everything, being, like, extremely loud and obnoxious. I
remember a Spider-Man during Fanimania 3. I was doing okay as a promo, but he decided to just kind of hit me right after I got a cheer. and then he was a lone voice who suddenly screamed, "You can't wrestle." I walked 2 steps in his direction and yelled into the mic, "And you didn't have the balls to sign up! Sit the frick down!" And he got heckled by everyone else for a couple seconds.
Damn.
There's definitely people in the crowd that are more into it than we are, and it's amazing.
It's awesome.
Yeah, actually, I gotta give you credit, G, for creating this because it's been a hell of a ride. But at the same time, you have ruined my convention life.
Yeah, you could have like switched characters or worn a mask. I'm just saying, man.
This is fun. But the thing is, though, 2 years ago, it was taking 2 or 3 years ago, I was taking part in a swap meet. I had a friend helping me. Okay, and I had a cart full of stuff while we were checking in for it. One of my friends, Jesse, is standing with me, and he notices, looking past me, there's someone staring at the side of my head, and his face slowly starts to curl into a smile as he's watching me. And Jesse's not sure what to say, because he's thinking to himself, and he told me this, either he recognizes Jeremy as Super Mario, or he's about to ask him on a date. And sure enough, as soon as we check in, the guy puts his hand on my shoulder, and instead of asking for a date, he just says, "Oh my god, are you Mario?" And the Mario persona is so different from my day-to-day persona, I had no idea how to respond in that second.
Yeah, what did you do? Did you respond like in kayfabe, or was it like, yeah?
I think my exact response is,
Fanime. Some people just view Fanime as CWF con now, and we're not.
Damn, that'd be a hell of a con.
I'm not even saying that from an egotistic standpoint. I mean, like, there are people. Some of our fans say that they bought badges just for Fanimania.
That's cool.
And
hopefully we fulfill that. I mean,
yeah, number 6 is coming up, and so unfortunately, listeners, I am not going to be leaking any information about Fanimania 6 outside of its happening.
Oh, are you sure you don't want to tell him? Holy jeez, there's a red sniper dot on me. I didn't know he could reach me from here. Never mind.
But I will say is that we have been in preparation. I know it's not cool on the internet to play things coy. Everybody wants to leak the next tidbit of information, but Fanimania 6 marks a very important turning point for a lot of us, just because we have changed how we are running things from an organizational standpoint. I'm not going to go into detail what, just because, that's internal business, and, some secrets you got to keep, but this new workflow has allowed us to do more things.
Yeah, and don't fear, we haven't changed flows because anything is bad. We've changed flows because we've just hit a different phase.
Yeah, we realized that we are good, but we could be better if we do certain things. So this is the ultimate test of that.
Yeah.
However, what I can say is that we all are very, very, very freaking nervous.
I don't know about you guys. I feel pretty good.
Shut
Yeah, I'm
up.
all right.
No, you two are the minority. I think we've all been losing sleep.
Black guy, what the frick?
Wow, I should have chosen my words better. We are losing sleep. We are, a lot of us are very anxious. The butterflies are in our stomach. They have then turned into cocoons and have then morphed into more butterflies. I mean, oh God.
No, I mean, I have issues with the Fanime show, but I wouldn't say nervousness is part of it. I just want to make sure that my stuff is on point. I stopped worrying about the show so much as just worrying that I can get from point A to B in my head. I'm more concerned with what comes afterwards, and I'll mention that if we have time.
Wait, your concerns about Fanimania?
No, I really don't have much concerns about Fanimania beyond myself. What I'm concerned about is the next show.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, we are confirmed for Sac Anime, but
Yes.
Let's go ahead and not voice those concerns about that next show, just because
No, it's not anything administrative. It's literally about me and a personal organization.
Oh, I meant let's not bring it up just because we want to keep it focused to Fanime. That's really it.
Yeah. Duly noted.
But Sac Anime is coming up, and there's a lot of milestones with Fanimania 6. We have another champion that has held the belt for 1 year, being defended at Fanime, Francisca von Karma. We have a lot of a lot of people hitting the Fanime stage for the first time. They're not new, and it's just watching everything come together has been a treat.
Yeah.
You don't
Can't say much about it. Like it's been it's been a hell of a ride. And
okay. It's been a hell of it, but let's stop playing coy just because it's really boring. I feel like I've just been vague booking for these past 10 minutes, and it doesn't sit right.
No, I mean the Fanimania crowd, they're one of the more challenging ones, and I enjoy that because I have this weird. I want to say heel status, but it's not heel, it's not anti-hero. It's just kind of this free-flowing thing, and I enjoy being challenged by the crowd. I seem to do my best sometimes when people are out to try and trip me up. And Fanime tries hard.
Oh yeah, they're ruthless, man.
Yeah.
They once they smell blood in the water, man, they will go after it.
But
well, that's the fun of the mental dance, though.
Let's go ahead and let's open this question up to everyone listening, and of course whoever's in our panel. That way we can wrap it up soon. But favorite Fanimania moments? Hard mode. You can't say Dio coming back.
Oh man. Favorite many moments.
Well, I mean, I was in it, so I don't know if that counts as bias, but there was something really special about Fanimania 4. Towards the end of the second round, we were down to 3 competitors out of 8, but the crowd noise and reactions were so close that it required us to go out into the crowd and try to stir them up in our favor.
That was with.
It creates a lot of unique images and just this weird feeling because you're not just standing there letting people wash over you with your cheers. You're standing in the middle of this explosion of sound. Yeah, that was that moment when it happened was insane. What was it? When that moment, because like when I was in the I was in the crowd. I was trying to get as much footage as I possibly can and get some shots in. And it was pure pandemonium, like just pure craziness. Like it was kind of like just if everything just kind of went out of whack and everybody just freaked out at the same time.
It was cool. It was like for 3 to 4 minutes. GG Professor Rose Fanimania 4 semifinals. That's what we're referring to. Yeah. It was just for about 2 to 3 minutes. Complete bedlam was happening in the crowd. Jeremy and everybody was we're standing on chairs. People were forming circles around each wrestler. They were just yelling at the wrestler to like cheer for them, and then they turned around and yelled at the other camp of people. It was like I never seen something like this. Was like the Hobbit Battle of 3 Armies sort of thing.
Yeah, it was insane. It was a really cool moment too.
Okay, I got one.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Fanimania 1. And this is one of my, when I think of iconic moments, I think of this one. You have to find the video on YouTube, but it was during the final round of Fanimania 1, Dio versus Afro Saiyan. And when he's running down the roster, he goes, "And you, Dio, Frieza called he wants his lipstick back." And from the crowd, there's a video, and you see this really scrawny dude. He's standing up. He's got his arms over his head. He's like, ah, 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 and he's spinning in circles in place, like, ah, ah, ah. Like, I mean, there's hype. There's hype. You can make the people cheer. Have you ever seen, like, you never said something so hard-hitting that you had somebody stand up and spin in circle, pirouetted in place 3 times as hype. That is a level of hype I have not seen in the show ever since.
yeah, that I was yeah. For those who wondering where that video is at, you can check it out on youtube.com/MissionStarTube. But aside from that, no, that was a cool moment. No, like when it happened and I was recording it, I have never seen that, like a response like that at all.
Of course, it was our first time at Fanime, so I mean,
Exactly.
everything was never before seen. Let's be
True.
fair
The only
here.
thing that could have made that perfect is after he was done screaming and spinning, he suddenly fainted and fell flat.
Oh my god! No, please, anyone listening, do not spit and scream and faint. I know we would want to.
Yeah, we're in a different era. You know, you don't want to get yourself Me Too. No way.
I mean, we want to see it, but we don't want that to happen. Please don't. Please,
No.
please be hydrated. Please, know your body's limits.
Respect personal space.
Yeah, respect person's space.
For me, and I had to spend some time thinking about this just because there's been so many moments. I want to say I think it was Fanimania 3 or 4. It was, I think, when we first put in put on music for people coming in, and it was just various WWE theme songs or what have you. But when the crowd started coming in and the music was playing, everyone was hype. Everybody was singing to the theme song. There was a moment where you and Isaac was doing the whole what was it? The Enzo and
Enzo.
Big Cass.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's back in the day where you could quote Enzo and Big Cass and make people smile.
Yeah, that face. But yeah, that pregame was insanely hype, and everybody was just really into it. And this is even before we started the entire event. So for me, that's probably one of the best highlights for me, and just getting ready and everybody's really into it.
But I'm looking forward to it. Oh. Giovanni writes, "What about foaming mouth guy cosplayers?"
I was reading that. What is that about?
I think he's talking about if somebody cosplayed as foaming mouth dude, so they would probably more likely fall over and foam.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute. Wait. Hold it. Foaming at the mouth. Rocket Boss Giovanni foaming at the mouth and falling over backwards. Is that a Monty Python reference?
I saw that a couple times in Avatar.
Oh,
Last
that.
Airbender, not the Blue Rabbit.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
Oh my gosh, that would be a great heel entry. It's like you pipe everyone up for Avatar, and then you show up as blue people Avatar.
That'd be hilarious. That'd be great. Oh man.
Well,
The only person who can't perform the CWF, the cabbage seller from Avatar.
oh, he'd have a
To the front, his cart is knocked over. My cabbages. And
He'd-
he's done.
he'd have his the world's most doomed merch table. Anyway, I wanted to keep this episode short, but yeah, thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Anthony. We'll definitely bring you on for a more proper, introduction episode to get everybody to know you. But before we leave, is there anything you two want to plug before we sign off?
Jeremy, I was going to say you can go first, but sure, I'll go first. So you can follow me on Twitter at @DefectiveNaruto. You can follow the work that I do at MissionStarPodcast.com. We do various things, including film and edit all the Fanimania shows, which we upload to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/MissionStarTubes. It'll also be available on this very Twitch channel. So if you are listening to the podcast, wherever you may be listening to, all the shows for CWF will be here on this Twitch channel, twitch.tv/CWF Network. And I think that's about it. Again, if you want to look over, Mission Star Podcast stuff, gaming news podcast we cover conventions, what have you. Our Fanime coverage will be up this year, as always. So definitely check it out when it's live. But that's about it for me.
Okay. As far as myself, I do the comic book reviews for dvsgaming.org, as well as some convention reporting. I'm still working on the report for Comic-Con Revolution. I was just there last weekend. I have an Instagram at CWF Mario. I'm going to Sac Anime for a no DQ tornado tag match. It's Mario and Patrick Fitzpatrick, Mr. Bad Intentions, versus Phoenix Wright and the special attraction Scoot Robertson. Hopefully put on a good performance there. And I just got informed that DVS Gaming's E-Lounge in Northridge, California is going to have a Smash tournament, or a series of Smash tournaments, in June, and they have requested that I show up at one, and I've agreed. I'm working on the exact date, but I won't be alone.
Oh.
Awesome. I want some video of this. I want to see it.
Now, meanwhile, let's go ahead and I'm going to assume that our next episode will be talking about what happened at Fanime, but let's go ahead and ask the question.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, who would talk such a thing? I mean,
Yeah, it's not like we do anything interesting there.
yeah,
I already know the next question, and this is in light of signature move. What is your favorite submission move? I think Whoa, you can't. No, you can't answer it now. This will be for our next episode. I think.
my answer would be too lewd anyway. So
I think submission.
After the New Year's drop, he just sits and waits until they suffocate.
I do think that submission techniques is something that goes underappreciated in a lot of wrestling circles. So, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about that. Anyway, team. Anyway, listeners, thank you for listening to another episode of CWF Backstage Pass. We hope to either see you at Fanime or at least be on our stream to communicate us. We hope you're going to enjoy this episode and what's to come, and thanks for listening. Good night, everyone.
Night!
no.